Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Joel and this is A Stable Life. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today's a big day for our horses. Today they are being dewormed. Horses naturally, as they're out in the pastures grazing, pick up worms. And we have a full process for getting rid of them, which I'll explain later. But that does mean that we are going to be having a bit of a change in our normal feeding routine. Instead of getting everything set up, getting the horses on in the stalls, and then moving on over to daily care, today we are getting the whole barn set up and ready, and then we let the horses in one by one. And then we have to deworm all 25 horses. So that's going to be quite the extensive process. I hope you guys are excited because today is going to be a big day. A lot going on today. And it all starts with putting some hay in the stalls. Well, a lot of those hay feeders were pretty empty, so I had to go back for a couple trips, but thankfully, all the hay is now in the stalls and ready for the horses. And we're not gonna be doing this big job alone. We have my mom here. I know you guys love having her. I love having her here, and it's really good because this is a big job. Do you think you're gonna be up for it today? Yeah, this is your first time deworming since the surgery.
As long as you hold the horses, Joel.
Wow, putting it all on me, okay. Let's see how it is. So next up is measuring out. We got to get all the grain in the stalls for the horses so they're ready. And that's when we switch things up and we start letting them in the old-fashioned way. That's what I call it. Where you go out and you grab one horse and you lead them in. All right, what do you say? We get these buckets full of grain. My dad is also here. Normally he is at work, but today there's a couple things that he had to take care of, so he's off work, working here. No, you like working here, don't even act. So, to explain the whole deworming schedule. So we have different types of worms that we have to deal with. We have pinworms, large roundworms, bots, then there's also bloodworms and tapeworms, and you need to use different dewormer for each of those. If you use just the same dewormer for all of the horses through the year, the worms can actually develop a resistance to it and is no longer effective. So that means that when a horse does come into our stable, we usually do have to deworm them in line with all of the other horses that are dewormed. If we just deworm one or the other, then the worms that are in some can reinfect all of the rest of the herd. So we do the whole herd at once using a different dewormer that takes out different worms throughout the year.
Today we're going to be focusing on tapeworms and bot flies.
And so for that specifically, what type of dewormer are we using?
It has to have the chemicals of ivermectin and praziquantel.
Ah, okay. Ivermectin and praziquantel. And specifically, we're using the brand Equimax. And for all of you horse owners out there, if you want, you can actually Google a deworming schedule. Here you can kind of see one that Mom laminated and put up for everybody to look at. That way you can kind of do the same thing for your horses to make sure that all of your horses are well cared for, because those parasites suck nutrients out of the horses, meaning you're going to be spending way more in hay and way more in grain to keep them at a healthy weight. Not to mention it does sap energy, meaning that they'll be very lethargic.
And the important thing is that you cover everything on the wheel, so you don't just deworm for one type of worm and not the others. You got to make sure you hit all three categories.
And with that, we're gonna be getting started with our oldest horse, Honey. We have new horses that we have never dewormed before, and we have horses we've dewormed all the time. We're gonna put at the bottom corner the name of the horse, and if this is their first time or not, so you guys can follow along as we do it.
She's a screamer.
Oh, he's holding. Wow, this is easy for me. Good stuff, Honey. Okay. This is Bella, also her first time at our stable.
Okay, it's okay. It's all right, sweetie. It's all right. Okay, I got it in.
All right.
She's done.
Good girl. Good girl.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
He's good. Good boy, Diego.
That's a high head.
Very nice.
Oh, Oh my goodness, that was
Very
nice.
nice.
Get down. He's gone.
Hey.
Like, I know what's going on. I don't want to come in. Sorry.
Good boy, Jack. Okay, that is all of the middle field. Next up, we're gonna take care of Buster and Rocky. Then that whole side is done, and then we'll be moving on into the big field. As we're making our way on over to do Buster and Rocky, the way that the dewormer works is based on weight. So you can actually see on the tube here, this is in pounds. So you can see that one tube does a maximum of, what is that, 1,300? Mm-hmm. 1,320 pounds, which means that for Tucker, Samson, and Weather, we actually have to give them 2 tubes to make sure, because you don't want to give them too little, otherwise the parasite actually will be able to resist the dewormer and stay inside the system. So you have to put in more than enough to make sure that it's good.
The donkeys today, we're going to give them each, they're about 300 pounds, but we're going to give them 400 pounds of medication.
To make sure that they are fully dewormed. And how do you know how heavy they are?
You can get a weight tape at your local feed store, and you put it around your horse's center, just like where the cinch would go on a saddle. But for years of experience, I can pretty much just look at an animal and know what their weight is. I look at Buster, he's a little on the chunkier side. He's about 300, 325 pounds. And Rocky's probably a little bit closer to the almost 300 pounds, because he's a little thinner and narrower in the chest. Oh, that's my little boy. Oh, you see all the recruits coming, and you're all like all worried.
For this process, it might be better for Dad and I not to even be in there.
That's why I'm not sitting in there. If I go in there, they're just gonna run.
Yep.
It'd be harder to catch them. Let her get them. If you can get them inside the run-in. Peaches?
Now, Rocky's got food in his mouth right now, so
Buster.
you don't want to worm a horse with food in their mouth. They're more likely to spit out your wormer. We're not going to open her mouth, huh? All right, fine.
What's up, Rocky?
I'll get it back as far as I can. This is the stuff he really hates. If you remember.
Yeah, didn't he go out and like get on the ground and drag his mouth along the ground?
Yes, he did.
This is the afterworm. As you can tell, Rocky does not like it. He is wiping his mouth on the ground, on his leg now. And the ground. Look at
Go over to Henny so you're right.
There you go. Okay, next up is going to be the big field. All of these horses have been dewormed before, especially at our stable, so things should go good. We're gonna grab everybody we can, and for those that won't, we'll then move them on into the middle field, lower paddock. He insisted on being next.
you got a big boob on your hand there.
There you go.
Hey, Doc. I'll give you 2 tubes, big guy. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2 tubes. Don't swallow my whole arm in there.
You got
And 2. Put sunscreen on him. All done? It's done. It's done. Close it down.
Never gave the donkeys their actual morning grain yet. So we'll go ahead and give them that. Oh, boys. There you go. You're all clear, Buster. All clear, Rocky. Yeah, there you go. Come on in. Good boy. Good boy, Buster. All right. Rocky's still a little upset that he got dewormed, so understandable. Understandable. I just had to bring out, look how gorgeous this hay looks. Just beautiful. It's just something about a beautiful bale. It makes you happy when you're feeding it to your animals. You know you're feeding them good stuff. Hey, Tucker, you wanna be a good boy? Oh, wow. Clear that hoof. So we do have a few horses that are on hoof care, not too many. Gavin and I kind of tag team them. Big stretch there, Tucker, big stretch. Gavin's taking care of a few, and I got a few. One of those few are Tucker, Samson, and Wither. And we only have to take care of them once a week because of how powerful this stuff is. It's okay, Tucker. Big hoof though, isn't it? And what I'm currently putting on is copper sulfate, otherwise known as copper tox, Durasol, and hoof hardener. I just had to show you guys what the hoof hardener looks like once it's painted onto the hoof. We only do the lower part. Look at all that nice stuff we got out of Weather's hooves, huh? Weather was actually a pretty good boy. Yeah. Since these guys were dewormed when we're turning out, we're gonna give extra care to make sure that they are all able to get a nice good long drink. We'll turn them out in a little bit lighter groups, and it does mean that turnout will take just a little bit longer. Just in case they're thirsty, we wanna make sure they get all the water they need. Right, Samson? And then of course we have all of our regular daily care items that we have to do. Right, Obi? And doesn't Jack just look absolutely dashing with his new fly mask? Yeah, I think so too. I'm pretty impressed. Not that many horses decided that they wanted a drink of water. They're all interested in grazing that fresh grass. Can't really blame them though, I get it. Oh, that's quite the sight, isn't it? That's nice. Very nice. Okay, well that's a wrap for morning feeding. Now we've got a little job that we got to take care of, caused by all these birds that are flying around. At least that's what I think is the reason. Come on, you two, out into the middle field. It's time to go. That's it, off you go. So if you take a look in Sriracha's stall, you can tell that the light is not working in here. It's pretty dark. I think a bird landed on the wire and pulled the wire out of the plug. That's the only reason that would have happened. That's the only thing I could think of. So let's grab a ladder and make this a quick fix. That's a pretty big gap. Hopefully my height will come in handy for this. Let's see. That's better. Now guys, please, it's okay for you to be in here, but please don't land on the wires, okay? I don't know which one of you did it. Was it you? It's probably Jerry. Classic Jerry. All right, well our grain order just got here. Take a look at that. Looking nice. I thought I would take this moment to answer a question. For some of you guys that are familiar going back, we used to get bags of feed from a feed supplier. You notice we would always take our truck up and load it up. We then switched to a different feed supplier, one that was making the grain locally at a mill. Unfortunately, that mill ended up shutting down and not being able to operate anymore. They sadly went out of business. The whole company didn't, but they closed that mill specifically for horses. I guess horse feed is a very tricky thing to make, and it just wasn't profitable for them too much. So we ended up switching feed suppliers again. We're now with one that we are over the moon happy with. I mean, our feed supplier is awesome. In fact, they're so awesome, I'm willing to give them a shout out. If you guys want to check them out, they're Nescapec Agway. They are above and beyond what we want. They take very good care of us. In fact, we've been in contact with the actual company, Purina. They've been here and we've had a full-on conversation with several times with not only our feed supplier, but also a nutritionist, an equine nutritionist, going over all of our feed. So you'll notice that some of the bags are kind of different colors and different things. Talking with some of our clients, a lot of them have made some choices with changing their feed to different types of feeds. So that's why we have so many beautiful colors here. We have so many feed bins. We can really feed a nice wide variety. So again, we're really happy they deliver the feed. So we're able to get it delivered. It's wrapped, it's beautiful. We are so much more knowledgeable now about our horse nutrition. It's one of those things where you know, it's always nice to be acquiring more information specifically about this subject. We're just so happy with them. Yeah, so that's the story behind why we're back to doing bags. And I'm not too worked up about this. I'm able to take the full pallet all the way into the feed room, and I can put the hydraulics up on the tractor, so I'm not bending over really hard to pick up these bags. It's not hard on my back really at all. We're happy we made the feed room changes. We're happy with our feed supplier. So there's the background story for you. Basically, everything has improved tremendously, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We're looking forward to a nice, long, and satisfying relationship with our feed supplier. All right, I'm gonna leave that there for now. I'm gonna leave that there for now because it is 12:30 and I'm pretty hungry. So I'm gonna go grab a light lunch, and we'll get started on work for the afternoon. Now we're gonna be switching gears now that lunch is taken care of. I'm gonna be over and working on the farm for the next few hours, and we're gonna be actually planting some of the vegetables that they're gonna be picking. Daniel is out planting soybeans. Matthew is working hard in the greenhouses. That leaves Brian and myself and Andrew, and we'll be working on planting. I'll help them as long as I can, and then I gotta head back and unload all that grain, feed horses for the afternoon. And I got a packed evening ahead of me too, but that's gonna be all stuff off camera. Believe it or not, I do have a life outside of what we record. A little bit. Look how pretty those horses are. Come on, Goose.
Mongoose. What's up, everyone from A Stable Life? For those that do not know me, my name's Andrew. For the afternoon, Joel is going to be helping us do some transplanting. This is called a water wheel transplanter. We have 2 water tanks up in the front that will feed water down into this drum. You will notice there is a spike on the drum. This is going to help us to plant our spacing at 15 inches. So we've got pickling cucumbers, we've got regular cucumbers, and we've got zucchini that we're going to be planting this afternoon using this special machine. It's pretty interesting, and I think you guys will enjoy watching it being used. Joel and I are now on the planter. We are ready to go. Water wheel transplanter is all set. All we're gonna have to do is turn on the water, and that's it. We'll start putting plants into the soil.
You ready, Brian?
Yep.
Are we splitting the plants?
Yep. No, don't split them.
These seats are nice, Brian. I just thought you'd want to know that they're nice.
I did spend the extra $8 to get this a lot.
It's pretty kind of cool to see how this thing works, isn't it, guys?
It's super cool. Now, what's interesting is, as we're going out through here, the hole is getting filled up with water from the water wheel transplanter. And then as we put the root ball down into the soil and push it down in, the water helps suck it fast to the soil. So we don't have to worry about covering over the plants, because the water is going to do that for us. It's very interesting, very neat, and very efficient method of planting. And we've used this for a few years now. Well, I should say we've used this my entire life. But this planter that we have has always done a great job at making sure our plants have a great start.
You say this is about 2 decades?
I'd say when I was about 5 or 6 we got it. Maybe not that long, because we did have one before it, but someone broke the seats off of it, so we ended up getting a new one.
How come you didn't just replace the seats?
Well, they kind of broke all the metal too.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know who it was. Might have been me.
I think you do know who.
I might have been a husky lad, but it was Matthew. Now you can run this machine with one person, but it is much more difficult. That's why it's nice to have two people on the machine. And we're very grateful that Joel was able to help us today. Because if Joel wasn't going to be able to help us, well, we'd have to move much slower. We'd actually end up using more water, and that water would be going to waste. So the fact that we have Joel here with us is a giant help. Now, Joel doesn't always have to come and help us, but on the days where he does, we are very, very grateful. And that's why it's nice to always have family working together. Because if Joel needs help, we go over and help him. If we need help, he's willing to come over and help us. And that's what makes this whole big thing work. Because you can do all your jobs by yourself, but on some days, it just doesn't make sense to. So it's nice to always have help, especially from the family.
Ooh, we got to put air in your tire, Andy.
My tire low?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
It looks like all the water's on your side.
Oh, that's definitely what it is.
Green thumb.
Now, as we're going out through, you will notice there is a little puddle of water in each one of these holes. That is one of the most important things. Now, we got to make sure it's not too much water and that it's not too little. Because if it's too much, well, then we're just wasting water. But if there's not enough in there, it's going to make the transplant very difficult. We could actually hurt our fingers if there's not enough moisture in there, because you'll just be pushing into dry dirt. And that will hurt you. You get stones on your fingernail. It's just not fun. So we try and make sure we have plenty of water in there, and that ultimately is what makes this a more enjoyable job. And thankfully today, it seems like everything is working accordingly. Now, you will have to adjust it based on weather. If it's a little too dry, you might need to add a little more water. If you're in a field that doesn't drain away, well, then you'll have to use less water. Those are just a few things you have to keep in mind, especially while you're transplanting. And one of the #1 reasons why this is a nice method of transplanting is because if you wanted to, you could add fertilizer as well. Now, we're not adding fertilizer today. We added fertilizer before we laid our mulch, but if we wanted to add another dose today, we could have. That's one of the benefits of using water wheel transplanters.
Tell you what, these are some good looking pickle plants.
Let me tell you, they're beautiful.
And I know you're probably saying, they're cucumbers. Yeah, they are, but they're gonna be raised for pickles. So they're a pickle plant as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, take over, Joel. Go crazy. Whoa, settle down.
That's right, that's right. They don't call me.
What do they call you?
They don't.
They don't call me.
I don't answer.
Yeah, you go straight to voicemail, baby.
Ran out of water. He's going to go fill up. 4 rows in. They said they'd like to get what's on the planter planted and then another load of tomatoes planted. Ooh, I don't know. It's 2:30. I'll do my best to help them out as long as we can. That grain, stuff's time consuming to get unloaded, but we'll do our best. Check it out, guys. There's the wheat that we were planting before Daniel's wedding. Remember at night where I couldn't really see? Alrighty, guys, we got that field done. Look how beautiful it is. Yeah, you can't even see me either. Okay.
All right, well, that's it. We're gonna go ahead and take this back. I will see you guys back at the farm. There you go, there's some corn, there's some wheat. Good stuff.
Came up actually pretty good. I couldn't plant that section in the back. It was too wet. So it looks like they're planting that in soybeans. This whole farm is being planted in soybeans. So everything's soybeans. It was corn last year. This year it's soybeans. We got the truck. I gotta look at the clock here and see what we can do. Because it's 2:34, which is actually when I wanted to start feeding horses, because it takes me so long to do that grain. We'll see when we get back to the farm. Okay, well, it is 2:50 right now. So I hate to do it, but I really got to get going on this grain and for afternoon feeding. So looks like Andrew and Brian are going to be working on taking care of the rest of those cucumbers and possibly taking care of those tomatoes today. Good news, I just heard Daniel get back with the soybean planter, so maybe he can swap in and help them out. We're going to work on getting all of these feed bins filled up. So let's get started. guys, Petey showed up to help. Okay, back to the time lapse. We got all the horses done. I am very happy that I stopped when I did because it is 5:41 p.m. and I have just finished with feeding horses, which is just crazy. But before we conclude the video, we actually have received a couple packages and some things that have come in, and I wanted to send a special thank you to you guys. You guys are awesome. The amount of things you guys have sent us is just breathtaking. And it just shows how much you guys love the channel. It means the world to all of us. We really appreciate it from you guys. It's why we film everything that gets sent in, because we want to say thank you to you and we want you to see our reaction when it comes in. That being said, let's go ahead and open things up and see what's arrived. Okay, wow, oh my goodness. The first thing that we got here is a $50 Lowe's gift card. And it is from Mary, thank you so much. This was exceptionally generous of you. Oh my goodness, another Lowe's $50 gift card from Anne. Anne, thank you so much. That was so nice of you. So nice of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoa, whoa. Oh my word. 1, 2, 3, 4 Lowe's gift cards. Wow, oh my word. That is insane. Terry, they definitely will. These are gonna be a huge help, especially with the projects that we have coming up. That was incredible of you. Thank you so much. Wow. Next, we have some hoof hardener from Sherry and Richard. Thank you so much. I agree. We definitely do need to keep those hooves healthy. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And last on the list, we have not 1, but 3 gloves that are extra large, disposable, and awesome. I love using these for horses, and I also love using these for machine work. The fact that you guys got this for us from Anonymous, very incredible. I mean, wow. Thank you so much. That was so nice of you guys. On behalf of all of us here at A Stable Life, we would love to say thank you. Pete, we saw you in the time lapse. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back, Joel.
Yeah? Well, we're just about to end the video. We got our question of the day, and I couldn't think of a better person to do our question of the day because currently, as far as timeline goes, our latest video is actually the one of you and me working together, taking the tractors out. So we're gonna pick a random question, see what we got here. Oh, here we go. All right. Pete, this is from Becky P 9700. The question is, does Petey live by himself or with family?
I live with my parents.
There you go. He's actually legit our neighbor. His property is bordering our horse pastures. In fact, the first time that I ever met Petey, I would say met Petey because we didn't really know each other before that, was he heard me scooping manure and he just walked through the woods and I looked to my left and he was just standing there in the woods on the other side of the horse fence and he waved at me. And he's here now. So the rest is pretty much history. So thank you for stopping by, Pete. Thank you for the help.
You're welcome.
It's always good having you around.
I like helping.
It's good. It's good. And I know they're going to love seeing a lot more of you as time moves on.
I'm sure they will.
All right. I think it's time to end the video. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right. If you guys haven't,
make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe.
And as always, we'll see you
in the next one.
All right. I like it.